Actually, it's Gypsy Avenger.
I'm sorry, I literally forgot when I said that. And we have a letter. Thank you very much, Thomas Lynch, aka TL Lucario, aka TL God, aka TL Warrior. And you say here, and may your aura protect you and your family, which apparently is your catchphrase. Anything's better than swivel here for me. So we have this, pause it if you want to get a good look at that on the back. And we have this, that's adorable. I believe that's Swivel Man and Spider-Man as ponies. Remember those? And on the back here we have another one with me as a pony and Madoka Godzilla Prime. And oh my god, is it 1955 because I thought this meme had died a long time ago. Well drawn, I'll give you that, but what can I say that hasn't been said? On the back, alright. And finally, we'll take a look at these Hama beads. Whoa, that looks like it says something, but I'm not quite. Oh, that's cool. Damn, that's great. Oh man, keep doing what you do. Keep on watching My Little Pony. Don't let me or anyone tell you otherwise. And thank you for the Hamas beads. Toothpick and a bit of normal dishwashing liquid. You dab a little bit on that and then you apply it to the tight area. And the dishwashing soap should act as a lubricant to make the ball joint not stupidly tight. And finally, you get a shorter stand part, which allows for more lower to the ground poses. But popping a squat isn't all he can do. Ball joint at the head can look side to side and look down. I wouldn't recommend you do this too hard or else you'll chip the paint, which allows for rotation. Can't move back that far. Bicep swivel. Tight elbow swivel. Basically anywhere you see a cut like this, such as here, here, and here, that's a swivel. Every ball joint, no waist swivel. Ball joint at the hips allows for a high kick. Can't move back that far. Beautiful spread. Swivel here. Again, any cut like this is a swivel. Swivel here. And a pivot. And the arm posability is pretty much the same as Diaboromon minus the individual fingers, but you do get a hinge joint, ball joint, hinge joint, ball joint at the antennas, hinge joint here, nothing at the head, waist swivel, that's pretty much it. Get a good amount of posability. Ball joint at the head, and please note that every ball joint can be a swivel because if I point out every swivel that's on this guy, we'll be here forever. Which allows for rotation, and even with all the spines on the back, you still can do some of that. Right. Ball joint at the hips also allows for rotation. Can't move back that far. Decent spread. There's no real thigh swivel here, but that ball joint at the hip allows you to simulate what is Jobby, and today we're taking a look at the Digivolving Spirits number 4, Angelomon. And this figure can transform into Tailmon, but we'll get to that later. So have you guys heard of this whole concept that number 4 is death?
Seriously?
In Japan, the way you say number 4 is literally how you say the word death, as in Shinigami. That's a little reference for all you weeaboos that are watching. I'm pretty sure that's everyone. As unfortunately, the massive kibble is the only accessory this figure has. And if that's the case, I guess we can move on to the posability. Right here, hinge joint here, and a hinge joint. And finally, for the kibble, a ball joint at her final set of wings. Okay, back to the figure proper. Allows for rotation. No. Bicep swoops. Rotation at the tail end of the ribbon. Best every ball joint can be. And that ball allows for rotation. Can't move back that far. Kinda messes with the shape of the butt, but the price you pay for posability, right? And if we could get our minds out of the gutter for just a second, there's some joints here that seemingly allow for some shifting movement, but I guess because those joints and by extension the ball slightly increase the range and hip posability. And it also allows for a good spread. Slight thigh swivel. Knee, ankle swivel. Can move up and down. And working with that up and down and the swivel allows you to get a pivot. So the posability on this figure is great. If the shifting joint at the hips worked a little better, it would be on par with an S.H. Figuarts. But the transformation of this figure is pretty simple and it won't take long at all. But statistically speaking, you're gonna skip it. So that's what getting cucked feels like. Now they don't mention this in the instructions, but it's way easier to deal with this with the kibble separated. The tail, every ball joint. Shoulder posability is the same as the Angelomon mode, but if you move the shoulder out, I'm actually still on board for the Digivolving Spirits line, but it does make sense that number 4 of the line killed my high expectations. I really wanted to love this thing. I mean, she's not a bad figure, and man, that body. But if I tried to keep up that fantasy within myself, I'd just be dishonest. And at that point, I just have to accept that my love for this figure is When passion burns like the starlight, it's just a part of the program. The old routine of hello, goodbye, it's just a part of who I am. All my toys and fancy things, they're just ways to ease my lonely mind. Everything in time, my friend, comes to an end. I'm sorry. And shading.
If you wanted that, you could just do it yourself.
Because a Gundam was in it. I know what that is.
Did you say Gundam?
Shut up several times throughout the video, but this is the one that's gonna trigger the ball joint at the head. Every ball joint can be rotation at the arm, swivel here, ball joint at the wrist, and of course every ball joint at the chest, and of course that allows for nothing at the actual waist. And if you can see that, you get a ball joint here, which allows this whole internal pelvic attachment to move all over the place. And that just makes the ball joint at the hips to have that much more range. And it can move back that far. Beautiful spread. There's a ball joint at the thigh there, which of course can double as a thigh swivel. Ball joint at the foot. Of course. This figure was provided to me by a fan. Again, thank you, Dwight Carter. I will take this opportunity to say that you can get this figure as a veteran toy store. Papa's gotta feed himself somehow. Please accept the enclosed gifts and the homemade comic in your free time. Also, you are part of my inspiration to start my own YouTube channel. Happy days, hashtag swivel here. Well, fuck. This is borderline inappropriate for YouTube. I don't even know if I could show this, but if oh my goodness. I guess that's me with all of the characters that I've claimed as waifu over the years. Asuka, shit, I could agree with that. Thank you so much. And they're from Virginia. I recognize this logo. This has gotta be Professor Kaiju, am I correct? Looks like a little model kit of Godzilla. And we have a letter here. Okay, we got, okay. I'll see you soon, but I don't know. Go check out the video for yourself. Check out his channel also. He seems like he's got a lot of potential as a good toy review channel. And for a parody logo, not that bad of an artist, I would say. Thank you very much for your kind words. I'm glad that you and your wife enjoy my videos, and the best of luck to you and your channel during Anime Expo. This is my second year going, and just like last year, it was a great time, but you guys coming up to me and me getting to meet you, and just thank you for everything. It'll be worth the wait. Primarily used for the transformation anyway, which we will talk about right after we get into ball joint at the head. Every ball joint can be a rotation. Hinge joint at the base of that far. Previously mentioned hinge joint at the wings, and that allows more range for the shoulder ball joint, and that shoulder ball joint allows for a rotation. You can even get a 360 if you remove those wings. There doesn't seem to be any sort of rotation at the bicep, but you do get a proper rotation at the elbow. Bend at the elbow, ball joint at the wrist. Every ball joint can be ball joint at the chest and the waist, and that allows for an arcing back and a crunch. And of course, being ball joint, it allows for ball joint at the hips. Of course, there's that thigh joint, but it does have a benefit in that it allows for a high kick. And the thigh problem also allows for a beautiful spring. And there's no proper thigh rotation over here, but you can simulate it with the ball joint that's there. Bend at the knee, ball joint at the ankle, some toe bends, kinda useless honestly. And of course, every ball joint can be look, I wouldn't have been so adverse to saying that word if you guys hadn't run it into the ground. I try to show you guys something significant, something that's important to me. You know, I played Master Chen in a Jago fan film, and I think I did a pretty good job. And in that post that I shared that fan film, I specifically stated, do not swivel spam. And what do some of you guys immediately do? You go to that video, you get your sweaty fingers on your goddamn Cheeto-encrusted keyboard, and you just tip away. Swivel here, oh, swivel my wibbles, Jobby. Oh, if I type in swivel in the comments, maybe Jobby will like me. No! Fuck's sake, man. Swivel here. But I can't really say the same thing about the dinosaur mode. And even though this mode is basically a brick, you do get a few moments of posability, such as that pathetic opening mouth, ball joints at these tiny useless hands, and ball joints at his previously mentioned gimp. Check out the link in the description, pick one up for yourself, and rep that big boy squad! Swivel here. Can't really say the same thing about the orange parts on the torso. These parts could definitely benefit from some manual panel lining, but why would I do that? What is this, a Gunpla channel?
Did you say Gundam?
Shut the hell up, you experimental green screen effect. Okay. There's really no issues with standing up the figure, and especially posing the figure. There's no accessories on this guy, but he doesn't really need them. The head is on up. Before we proceed, let me clear the air a little here. I don't have a problem with the word itself. I just have a problem when some of you guys go to unrelated channels and spam that word. It's not charming, and it ruins potential professional relationships. I'm pretty sure MGO hates me because of you guys. So, fuck you, and swivel here. Rotation at the arm, bicep swivel, and all 7 segments at the arm here have a hinge joint and a swivel joint, which allows for a great degree of posability. Swivel at the chest. Legs have a ball joint, which allows for a rotation. Swivel at the waist. To the arms, each segment here has a hinge joint and a swivel, including the tip of the tail. Posability is pretty good for something that doesn't have actual legs, but because of the unique design, the poses that you can get with this figure are kind of limited. I think a ball joint at the head instead of a plain swivel would have helped with that. Very nice. And the robot mode by itself is very nice. As for his alternate mode,
命を燃やせ、怒りを燃やせ、今がその時だ。
Post the first attempt later in the day, probably as an unlisted video, so check your social medias for that. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff, and keep your heads on a swivel. I use that word appropriately now. Okay, if you are frustrated at your own drawing skills, maybe watching me draw will help inspire you. You can check that video out, links in the description. I am the master of plugs. So instead, I give you the ultimate swivel machine. This has got to be my 3rd fidget spinners. They're not a bad toy, okay? P.S. I'm almost 17, borderline big boy, you'll get there. P.P.S. Sorry for my handwriting, not that bad. I've seen worse. Thank you very much, Josie, for your letter, and thank you very much for your swivel machine. I already made it clear that I have no problem with the word swivel, right? Swivel here. Letting you know just to be careful for next time. It says Northwalk, it's Norwalk, California 90651. I just don't want the USPS because they're so stupid to get it mixed up. Hey, check that out. It's a bit that I haven't done in a long time. It's because I haven't talked about Spider-Man in a while. But next time I talk about Spider-Man, Swivelman will return. He's still living in a garbage can. And we have videos are great, and somehow I actually respect you. That is surprising, actually. My username for YouTube, Twitter, etc. is... I can't really make that up, but there it is on screen if you guys want to check them out. And I already know my username is Complete Cancer, and so is my handwriting. Well, yeah, Swivel have mercy on your fan base. Sincerely, Zach. Thank you very much, Zach. And the final letter of the day comes from a Kaio Arambula. That looks good for your own sake, and this guy literally is telling me, bruh, check out my mixtape. I also sent you a couple of drawings, and you saw those drawings already, and he drew a me in Rick and Morty style. That looks nice, actually. And that's gonna wrap it up for the letters of this video, and now we will get to our bigger envelopes. This one comes from Texas Mystery Woman. I appreciate it. I'll find some use for these things. What am I gonna use them for? Gundam?
Did you say
This, aka Tommy, and I have to say that you are one of my favorite YouTubers, and like you, I'm also a Transformers fan. Two things I'd like to say in one big word: keep calm and swivel on. That is something that I have to take to heart because I can't get upset with you guys for overusing that word forever. I have to keep calm and swivel on, no matter what the spammers say. Do you like tennis? My favorite sport to play. U2 wrote his own letter in this package, and another friend sent her own letter recently. Please accept my sacrifices and grant me and my friends access into Swivelhalla. Pretty clever, actually. So clever, in fact, that I want to send you straight there. Like my stuff, you fuck. And his expressiveness is bumped up to 11 when you consider his eye-changing gimmick. Leave a like in the comment if you get that. Was Beast Wars a fetish show? And it's worth mentioning that the joints on his head are really satisfying and nice and tight. In general, this guy is really satisfying to hold. He's nice and chunky and everything fits together solidly. Retro style artwork on there, and on the back you can see his stats. So all the accessories for this mode just adds to the figure's expressiveness. But those accessories really wouldn't do much without some and that allows for a rotation. Bicep swivel can rotate a full 360, so his elbow bends in. Now, unfortunately, you don't get any hip rotation, but that is made up for with this joint here. Good old ratcheting swivel. Normal swivel here. A really good pivot, maybe a little too good. And each of his claws are on hinge joints, but that's more for the transformation. I'm sure the plastic quality notch, but I would still recommend being careful when you handle these things. They seem a little too thin for my grubby goblin hands. To become his iconic spinny shield. Now that pegs right into his hand, and if you push this long button, it can actually spin. If it doesn't fall off first. I'm pretty sure you can thicken up this peg somehow, but as it is, kind of frustrating. But otherwise, the shield looks very impressive, and the spinning gimmick, once you get a good rhythm, is really enjoyable. Matter of fact, the figure doesn't even feel like he transforms. Everything fits together nicely. Just a solid robot mode. In some unfortunate cases, it might be a little too solid. On some copies of the figure, this joint at the shoulder here is a little too tight. But if you do get a copy of this figure and you accidentally break it because it's so tight, that sucks so much, Takara should really get their shit together. And I recommend you watch this video. It should help you out a bit. I guess I'm one of the lucky ones where all the joints on the figures feel so nice to pose. Rotation at the out. Bicep swivel down. Swivel here. God, his hands look creepy. Swivel at the waist. Rotation at the leg. Can't move back that far. Decent spread, but if you bend the legs up just a little more, beautiful spread. Thigh swivel. Swivel at the knee. And finally, a swivel here.
Thank God. Tell my tale to those who ask, and tell it truly. The good deeds, along with the bad, and let me be judged accordingly. The rest is silent.
Oh. Yeah. The completely visible arms at the chest here kind of make it look like he's begging for something. And while we're here, the mouth is incredibly crooked here. It might be due to the age of the figure. As for his actual arms, they look very emaciated and feel kind of gross. But that's due to that flexible plastic here. What also feels kind of gross are these ball joints at the hips. They seem just a bit too loose for comfort. Fortunately, every ball joint can be, and that's it. But for voucher busting right about now, but I'm all emptied out. So something interesting about the box here. It says that the transformation difficulty on this figure is advanced, a level 3. I suppose we'll have to see about that. Advanced conversion, this is bad comment. Stands up pretty well despite those previously mentioned loose ball joints. But once you introduce his weapon, he pretty much becomes completely immobilized. I don't guarantee that I lost some hair over it. And worst of all, it doesn't even spin. 0 out of 10. And as you saw from that little weapon conversion segment, which you did not skip, I refuse to believe you're that impatient. You actually have to convert his hands into normal fists. Disgusting. It is legally required for Dinobot to have creepy crab hands at all times. Burn the heretic! This figure kind of a pain to pose. Arm can rotate. Swivel here. No sort of waist swivel. Ball joint at the hips, which allows for rotation. Can't move back that far. Beautiful spread. No real thigh swivel. But of course, every ball joint can be. You thought this heavy plastic cape would suck out any potential fun you could have with this guy? You'd be right. However, what Bandai doesn't tell you in these instructions, if you take this leg kibble and turn it on its side like that, it can actually act as support for the weight of the cape. And it actually works surprisingly well. Of course, that means the leg kibble becomes more obvious, but with that cape, who gives a shit? So with the weight of the cape being ungracefully counteracted, the figure actually becomes a lot more fun to pose. Ball joint at this poor excuse for a wing, and they've got a hinge joint here and a rotation at their base. Allows for a rotation. Bicep swivels. Every ball joint can be. No sort of waist articulation due to how the cape is designed. Rotation at the leg. Can't move back that far. Pretty good spread. Thigh swivel. Kibble. Every ball joint can be completely not removable. There is no escape from this hell. Give up. And of course, the lack of removable kibble is due to his involved transformation. It's supposed to help the Doraemon mode stand up, but he looks basically the same with it attached. It definitely doesn't help with his posability in any way. Nothing at the head. Ball joint at the arm allows for rotation and also allows his arms to move out. Ball joint at his legs, hinge joint here, and a hinge joint at the foot. And you would think that would allow him to stand up like this, but no. Not even the stand can help him with that. Also, that's it.
No, not another Kirby one.
Imza! And I practice Santeria.
One of okay.
Alternate closed toes. Pretty cool how there's a pair of pegs underneath here just for this purpose. The default open toes come out easily enough, but attaching the alternate toes was a bit of a challenge at first, but all you need to do is just gently twist until... And honestly, I could barely tell the difference, despite the figure's constant fumbling over. I can't say it feels cheap. Matter of fact, the figure feels very high quality. Most of the figure here is made out of a slightly flexible plastic. Reminds me of the material that NECA figures are made out of, which makes sense considering David Silva. And that material just means that in regards to this figure, paint chipping and breakage are mere myths. Just like the existence of dinosaurs. The joints seem solid though, which guarantees that this figure can hold a bow. Head, every ball joint can back. Rotation at the shoulder, arm moves out, bend at the elbow, hinge joint at the wrist, ball joint at the waist, and that allows for a slight arc at the back and a slight crunch. Every ball joint can kind of be. The hips are technically at a ball joint, but they're so limited that they act as a standard rotation, and they do allow for a pathetic spread. Knee, swivel toes, and the famous sickle toe has its own rotation. I guess you could consider this a pivot. Swivel at the turn. Every ball having a field day with it. The top heavy, tiny leg design of these guys would lend itself pretty well to an Optimus Primal custom, yes?
Well, you can always do it yourself. Shut the fuck.
And if we're talking about the painting on these guys, there's actually not a lot, but what my knowledge, but they do have a good heft. These guys were clearly designed to be played with, which is made abundantly clear when you go to the Toy Notch official website, and you see that one of their main selling points is their incredible posability. Not just yet, my big boys. Almost any wacky pose you can think of getting these guys in, they can pull it off. The only downside to all this posability is that I had way too much fun playing with them. I could have spent the whole day taking a bunch of shots of these guys and not get any work done, but hey, I'm a very busy man. Not only are these guys posable, but simply put, these guys are a stop-motion animator's wet dream. And thank God for those 50 points of articulation, because it more than makes up for the lack of accessories. Allows for rotation, moves out, bicep swivel, swivel at the wrist. No, it's good. Ball joint at the chest. Every ball joint can be back. As if this wasn't enough, you get a swivel at the waist. Rotation at the leg. Beautiful spread here, swivel here. Now, I don't usually say this, but man, these guys are swivel-tastic. And these guys are pretty big, the Miss Prime, and of course, the Toy Notch Astrobots Argus. And as you've seen throughout the whole review, these guys look great together. I am definitely gonna keep watch on Toy Notch. Now, if Toy Notch made some kind of transforming figure in this style, I would instantly come. But as they are, I have no problems in weekly polls to determine what I review next. Big thanks to everyone who decided to pledge and vote. You can trust me to run a fair democracy. And all I'll say about the winner of this first poll,
Review more Gundam!
ultimately meant nothing. Pathetic. But letter comes from a Dawong-chong. Probably didn't pronounce that right, but they're from Hawaii. So we've got a piece of fan art. I suppose that's what it is. From the looks of his writing, doesn't look like a big boy, but I've learned better than to judge someone's age by the quality of the writing. I, for instance, write like a 5-year-old. Hello, Jobby boy, Jobby bitch. And hey, I was right. He's 12. Important message. Ever since I saw your videos, I showed it to my friends, JJ and Jet. After they watched it, we just kept saying, put it in my ass. And over here. Oh, fuck it. Benjamin's Prime. And they're from Massachusetts. Piece of fan art. I guess that's a Jaeger from Pacific Rim. Swivel Bravo. We've got a paper Starscream. Just Star. And apparently Starscream is from New York. Who knew? Oh! Well, at least he took the time to censor it for me. Jesus Christ. Okay. Susan, please, I'm begging you. Do not demonetize this video. Do not demonetize this video! Jobby, you made me draw this and also Tumblr. Ah! That's what it says. I didn't exaggerate. Thanks, Starscream. I'm glad my Megatron girl is still making waves in people's pants. Our next letter comes from a Andy Nguyen. He even put a pronunciation guide right there to pronounce his last name, but come on, Andy. I know Vietnamese. Come on. Hope you like art. Hope you enjoy my art. I have trouble writing. First, let me alleviate your concerns. I am over 18 years of age. Curse you for convincing me to start collecting these Transformers toys. You're welcome. Hope you enjoy my art I have crafted for you. P.S. You have no idea how hard it was to resist including a swivel in its construction. Be kind to it. It's not glued together. I don't know what you're talking about, but we will see soon enough. Instagram. Is that boy 34? This is not the place for JobbyTheHong. Come on. I hope you keep doing what you do. I'm sorry. Gigan drawing. A thing of Altoids labeled hentai. What? I don't know they make spinners this small. That's adorable. And fun. Piece Dinobot. Okay, let's take a look at his artwork. That's a great little piece of fan art there. It's main Jobby with my 2 stands. I still haven't seen JoJo. Get off my ass. Swivelman and the Gundam Ghost. I appreciate that people liked my Swivelman character. Venom, a Batman, and the Joker. And they're from Wisconsin. Got a piece of fan art there and a letter. Hello, I hope you're doing good, healthy, and cool things and swivels till the end. Very nice things to wish upon me, and none of them are true. P.S. My age is classified 3. I think he meant number 4. Revoltech Queensblade Nanail action figure. Wanted to use this to make funny Woody pictures. Oh. Is that cum? And now I own a Revoltech hentai Woody. Alright, before I got distracted, what was he saying? Wanted to use this to make funny Woody pictures, then I saw the amount of detail this figure has. I decided to pass and it's been collecting dust. What do you mean amount of detail? Yep. Okay. Not gonna review that. Yep. Oh, even got some down there too. Okay. Final package comes from an Adam Hegeris, and they're from Nevada. Oh, this is a nice painting of Greymon. Good job, Adam Hegeris. And a jigsaw puzzle. When I find the time between making reviews and not painting Gundam, I'll take a look at this. And we got a letter. Hi, Jobby. I know this painting isn't show accurate and that you won't review a puzzle, but I thought of you while I was making it. You like Greymon, right? Yeah. Keep swiveling, Adam Hegadouche. I quite enjoy your painting, actually. It's a nice background color there. And I quite enjoyed all of the stuff whoever bought my shirt. It really helps out, keeps the channel alive. Now, if you excuse me, before I take care of the typical fail box mess, I have to prepare my hot glue gun. Side, you'll notice this thingy, which was totally here the whole time. Please don't rewind. This claw weapon can extend and retract at the push of a button. These hinge joints here are actually pretty tight, and that gives the claw weapon a very nice grip. It's not a phase, Mom. All the cool kids are doing it. Coming back here, you'll also notice that the robot mode head is right in between her legs. Now, this situation the figure feels fine. I mean, these ball joints might even feel a little too too tight. And if you position those ball joints just right, of course taking into account the rotating front legs with its hinge joints and elbow, you could actually manage to stand the figure up. That's pretty impressive considering these front legs here are made out of a flexible rubber relating their eye holes. With all these joints in mind, you could get the figure into a decent amount of spidery poses. And did you notice that I was naming all the joints throughout the review? Ball joint, ball joint, ball joint. Recently I checked out my analytics and it told me that most of you check out during the posability segment, so I'm trying something new.
But Johnny, I don't like it.
Hey, at least the size comparisons are still doing well. At least for now. We get into that good old royalty-free jazz. I'd like you to take a good look at these instruction sheets. You see this, my big boys? This is what you would call horny on main. I mean, look at this. She's wearing a cat girl outfit here, and at the bottom, you can see that it just pops out. You know that came out of her butthole. Zimbabwe's are even more noticeable due to the grossly thin waist. Talk about unrealistic body standards, Jesus. This defect is due to the major retooling of the Transformers animated figure. You see, that version had mandibles that actually filled in these gaps. But if you fold the butt flap up, it kinda makes up for the lack of meat, but that kinda limits that waist swivel. Get that out of the way? Oh yes? And you even get a bit of an ab crunch, and an arcing back, and now I see what they were going for. Takari that also remains unchanged are these proper robot hands instead of the creepy crab claws that the original design had. But if you keep these spider legs unswiveled, it kind of gives off the impression of those disgusting pincers. Very smart. And at the arm you have this hole, which the previously mentioned grapple weapon can plug right into. And that allows her to thwip around like a certain friendly neighborhood.
Swivel man, does whatever a
Bitch.
Mr. Jobby, I don't feel so good.
Swivel Man is fucking dead. And the weapon can plug into her back. Now for the last poll I did, a certain subset of my subscribers really pulled through.
Review more Gundam! Review more Gundam! Review more Gundam! Yes! More Gundam reviews! But it's not a model kit.
We're taking a look at that one giant robot from Ready Player One.
Actually, the RX-782 Gundam is from a 1979 anime called Mobile Suit Gundam. How could you not know that, you stupid idiot? I've lost all of my respect for you. How could you disrespect the Gundam franchise that way? I've been a fan of you since everything else, and I
Thanks to Christopher Guajardo for providing this figure to my P.O. Box Dupla builders. I'd recommend you get a fine tip marker and go over those panel lines yourself. Now that's something I haven't thought about in a long time.
Why did you stop building Gunpla?
That's a good question, actually. Life comes at you fast. There is a part of me that wants to get back into at least building and panel lighting my model kits, but painting model kits to the best of my ability doesn't seem feasible for me right now. In between all the filming, the editing, the wallowing in my own self-doubt, I'm sure you understand, right?
Review more Gunpla!
Catch any one of the 2 beam saber effect parts you get. This peg hole connection is a bit tight, so you do want to be careful not to snap that peg.
That doesn't look Gundam-y enough for me.
To complete the iconic Gundam look, you get the classic shield and this part. Slide it into the hand, and that doesn't look quite right. However, you get another ball-jointed piece, and you could plug it right into there. Now that's a Gundam if I've ever seen one, ain't that right? Well, of course he doesn't care when I try to actually cater to him. With that ball joint still attached, you can plug it into the back. Now if we remove this part and bring in this part, you could store the beam rifle here. Pretty cool feature at first, but there's no real way to plug it into the figure, so fuck it. And the beam rifle can be held with this pair of trigger finger hands. Position the scope and the handle, and the peg at the end of that allows you to... But that's not the only use for this hole. You could stick a Bandai Tamashii Nations Act 5 stand in there, or you could plug it into his tank. To make him look more natural in the air, you get a pair of thruster effect parts. They can also attach to the bottom of his feet. Combine those parts with a shark ton of articulation, and you could get some really dynamic poses. And let me just lift up this ball joint at the front skirt so you can get a good look at that thigh swivel, ball joint at the hip, and there's a hinge joint here which allows for a ridiculous kick, and the leg can move back that far. Hinge joint at the side skirts, that makes room for a beautiful spread. Ball joint at the waist. Every ball joint can be one of these. You also get one of those at the lower arm. Another one. If you think I skimmed over some pieces of articulation, I covered it throughout the review. Fuck off. This longer than normal handle and this curved beam saber, and that just makes beam saber poses that much more powerful.
Excuse me? The beam saber never looked like that in the show. Even the Gundam figure betrays me.
Well, that special anniversary figure does come with extra accessories, but is it worth it? Was it worth it?
Did you really do it?
Yes.
And what did it cost?
Nothing, I feel great. You can see from the title screen here, it's Doom. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's Doom! This is where my true gamer skills are gonna be put to the test, right? Normal. Fuck off. Of Doom. And I remember he mentioned that he played with a controller. I forgot how it came up, but I remember saying, straight face, without any hint of sarcasm or irony, like, I can't imagine doing that. How would it have been possible for you to play it without a mouse and keyboard? And in that moment, I realized when Miguel, who was present at the time, my good friend Miguel, he just said, "PC Master Race" as an offhanded comment, and I just realized, like, holy shit, I've become one of those fucking assholes who like can't accept other people's preferences for gaming.
A primitive recreation of finding a vault, heavily guarded and full of ammo, health, and treasure. I'm wondering, does this play better with modern controls? Well, yeah, with the dedicated strafe buttons, but that's pretty much grandfathered in. I can't think of a port of Wolf 3D that doesn't have that now. Anyone coming at me in the comments about the mouse though? You absolute clowns who still think that Wolf 3D and Doom were always keyboard only? Get the fuck out, you're wrong. Here's the DOS version with a mouse, a thing it always supported. I don't miss the you have to be looking at an item to pick it up bullshit either.
So, I'm gonna try lowering my PC Master Race tendencies in this gameplay, but there are no promises here. So, as you can see, I got... Hey, Doom guy! Yes! Oh, guys, I should mention, that exists. Like, I think a few years after the game released... Oh, I got a grenade. After this game released, they actually... A toy company called Gaming Heads actually went and made a little Doom guy figure based on the secret that you just saw me pick up right now, and I actually bought one. I mean, it was $50, but it's gonna be worth it, right? It plays the Doom theme. A little secret area here that unlocks an entire map based on the first level of the original Doom game. And I guess I should point that out. I've actually never played the original Doom game, actually. I'm not original Doom fan.
I know.
I've never played it though. I might play it like on this channel actually, just for
Like that's ever gonna happen. What a load of... Somebody wants to...
You quickly get the idea that this is not Doom 3. This is, in fact... That's awesome. Hey, my name is Jobby, and... with a snap of my finger... with the wave of my hand... I am now... truly... alone. Thanks to Brian Ortiz for sending him the Transformers Generations Deluxe class. This point is my holy grail. I mean, the poor fuck would constantly get blown to pieces, and I loved him for it. Fortunately for me, unfortunately for him, his ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulders, ball-jointed elbows, and ball-jointed hips are all easily removable. I would hope that's also the case with the inevitable Masterpiece version, right, Takara? Please? If it does happen, Takara's got their work cut out for them. Not even this figure could figure out how to shorten or conceal the bug leg. The very sight of an insect's wings just compels me to... tear them off. I'm a murderer. Pathetic. You could always switch the legs to get a proper knee bend, but that would make the feet wrong, and you do need the legs facing the right way for the transformation to work, so there's no winning here.
Swivel butt. Don't call me that. Why, universe hate Wasbanator?
Oh, don't worry, little guy. At least you've got a wrist swivel, and you got a waist... Yeah, the universe does hate you. In this vast and uncaring cosmos, within the cold, dark reaches of space, within that seemingly endless sea of stars, this tiny blue marble, and on that marble, me, with you in my hand, and you are merely just a typical deluxe class size figure. Transform, huh? Wasbanator, terrorize! Look at these panel lines. Not to mention the stinger, which, I'll have you know, is a trait exclusive to female wasps. Does this make Wasbanator LGBT icon?
Boo! Jokes aren't allowed anymore!
It's not funny to me personally, therefore it has serious malevolent intent.
Uh-oh. Looks like I kicked the old wasp nest, am I right? Good. Fuck wasp. Bad price if I do say so myself. With Swivelman gone, and the Gundam ghost gone, there's no one else to be rid of. Except for... oh no.
Just get that off the shelf.
Hey, my name is Jobby, and holy shit, it's already been 4 years since I've been on this godforsaken website.
Just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You feel
Jobby
like
the song.
heaven to touch.
That cowardly, lonely idiot. He's been there since the very beginning.
And I thank God
Jobby the song is a dead man!
could have been enhanced with a lot more red, such as between the ribs or the folds of the skin. This is where the NECA figure has the advantage. I mean, I could always paint the figure myself, but I already murdered that part of me, thank God. At the end of that, you get the iconic botched circumcision. This realistic lump of bloody flesh has the tiniest hint of a tiny face, which is movie accurate. Considering the weight and girth of this massive tail! Seriously, this thing is longer than 12 inches. Most s.h.monsterarts Godzilla figures, all of the joints here are ball joints, allowing for a great range of posability. And you know what I always say about ball joints? Every ball joint can be a Every ball joint can be a worked. I'm here, and a special ball joint here that allows the mouth to open really wide. Scabs and those random nails jutting out of his feet. This mangled and mutilated Godzilla design is truly the embodiment of suffering. Just like a certain songbird is the embodiment of my suffering. Naive. Pathetic. Responsible for those extended musical numbers that no one watches. I love you, baby. Please do not get me. If I got rid of him, I would be rid of all of my demons. I'd finally be able to move on and become a better man.
I will kill him.
In order to locate my target, I'll have to visit a Jobby I haven't seen in a very long time. To find a fool, you must simply ask another one. 4 years. You remember what Shade said about the number 4? Shades. So have you guys heard of this whole concept that number 4 is death? Judging by your recent activities, I knew my time would come sooner or later. But the truth is, Jobby, you don't have the ball joints. As long as you worship money, I will always be here. Where is Jobby the song? What? Where is he? Jobby the song. You're gonna have to look deeper than B to get to him. But I warn you now, you won't like what you find. That boy that you call a heart. He's even sung songs about it. Today has been what a rare mood I've been. Why it's almost like being depressed. Surprise, motherfucker! Still bending over to revenue, huh? Good. As any big boy should. You know who else is a big boy? Shin Godzilla has gotta be my largest s.h.monsterarts figure, besides the Kokokyo, and that just makes this figure that much more intimidating. Not to mention he's quite the hefty boy. And I forgot to make the obvious size comparison. Here's the s.h.monsterarts Shin Godzilla next to the NECA Shin Godzilla.
That wasn't the only thing you forgot.
No. Not you.
You're weak. You're pathetic. Be careful what you wish for. No matter how much you run, no matter how much of the past you kill, you cannot escape your destiny. The one thing you will be remembered for after you're long gone. You know what to say. Swivel.
Ball joint here. Ball joint here. Ball joint here. Ball joint here. Can't look up that far and look down that far. If I die in this world, who will know something of me? I am lost, no one knows. There's no trace of my yearning. If I die, but I must in this world carry on. Who will know nothing worse? Something of me. I am lost. All my fears. No one knows. All my tears. No trace. Tell my heart of my yearning. There's a hole. I will run. Void, bum bum bum, not even hope, a downward slope is all I see. I wear a void in my mouth, not even hope, the slightest chance, a shaft of light is all I need. All I see is the darkness killing me.
Jobby?
I love you, baby. Please do not get me wrong. I need you, baby. But man, that price is wrong. I love you, baby. But I would not want to pay. I guess you really are too good to be
Hey, my name is Jobby, and welcome to another episode of JobbyTheHong, where I draw your requests from Twitter. Now, I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, but I've been away, I've been doing some things, and hey, I might do another gameplay video for you guys sometime down the line. So let's just jump in.